Assalamu alaikum students. The topic today is humerus. We need to discuss about humerus. Humerus is a bone of arm. It's actually the longest bone of the upper limb. Humerus is basically divided into an upper end, a shaft and a lower end. As you can see, the upper end is rounded. Then we have a long shaft and the lower end which is triangular. The upper end consists of a head which is directed medially, upwards and backwards. You can see a line here which is separating this head with the rest of the upper end. This line is known as the anatomical neck of humerus. Anatomical neck of humerus separates the head with the rest of the upper end. Then we have a small bony projection here which is known as the lesser tubercle towards medial, and another bony projection here which is known as the greater tubercle. In between both tubercles we have a hollow depression, a fossa, which is known as the intertubercular sulcus or bicipital groove. So bicipital groove or intertubercular sulcus is basically a groove or depression between the lesser tubercle and the greater tubercle. Posteriorly at the greater tubercle we have an upper, a middle and a lower impression for the attachment of muscles. As we move down, we can see that this groove or fossa or sulcus has a medial line or a medial lip and a lateral line or a lateral lip. If you can focus, this is the medial lip and this is the lateral lip. Okay, then we have the shaft which is rounded superiorly at the upper end and it's triangular at the lower end. Then shaft is divided into three borders and then we have three surfaces for that. We have an anterior border, a lateral border and a medial border. And same as that we have anterolateral surface, anteromedial surface and a posterior surface. And anterior border arises from the lateral lip of the intertubercular sulcus from here, and it gets down over here, becomes rounded and smooth. Then the medial border arises from the medial lip of the sulcus and it gets over the medial side where it forms a sharp ridge sort of a structure which is known as medial epicondylar ridge, supraepicondylar ridge. Same as that we have a lateral border which is just sharp lower down while it's barely traceable upwards. So here it is sharp at the lower end and it forms the lateral supracondylar ridge. So we have three surfaces: anterolateral surface which is between the anterior and the lateral border, this surface. Then we have anteromedial surface which is between the anterior and the medial border, this surface. And lastly we have a posterior surface which is between the medial and the lateral border, this surface. Okay, actually a nutrient foramen is also present over the medial aspect, middle of the medial anteromedial surface, which is not appreciated in this bone. Then at the lower end we have, it's triangular and we have articular and some non-articular parts. Articular parts includes this is a small rounded bony projection which is known as capitulum. Then we have a pulley shaped surface which is known as trochlea. Capitulum articulates with the head of the radius while trochlea articulates with the ulna. Just above the capitulum we have a depression here which is known as the radial fossa, and it accommodates the radial head when the elbow is flexed. Consequently, we have a fossa just above the trochlea which is known as the coronoid fossa, and coronoid fossa accommodates coronoid process of ulna when the elbow is flexed. If we turn around the bone, we have another fossa just above the trochlea at the posterior surface. This fossa is known as olecranon fossa, and it accommodates olecranon process when the elbow is extended. Then these were the articular parts. Now the non-articular parts include the medial epicondyle, which is more prominent, a lateral epicondyle, which is less prominent, and these ridges, medial supracondylar and lateral supracondylar ridge. Okay, now we come to the attachments. There are few muscles which gets inserted and gets originate from the bone. So humerus, here we have the lesser tubercle. So subscapularis is inserted over the lesser tubercle. Then we have supraspinatus, which gets inserted over the upper impression of greater tubercle, infraspinatus at the middle impression of the greater tubercle, and teres minor at the lower impression of the greater tubercle. Then we have pectoralis major, which gets inserted over the lateral lip of the sulcus, that is the intertubercular sulcus. So lateral lip, pectoralis major gets inserted. Then we have the floor of the sulcus, that is latissimus dorsi, which gets inserted over the floor of the sulcus. Then we have the medial lip of the sulcus, where teres major gets inserted. Contents of the sulcus includes long head of biceps brachii, ascending branch of anterior circumflex humeral artery. So these were the contents of the sulcus. Midway at the anterior border, we have a V-shaped tuberosity, which is known as the deltoid tuberosity. So deltoid muscle gets inserted at this tuberosity. Now we have the last muscle which gets inserted on the humerus, which is known as coracobrachialis, and it gets inserted over the medial rough surface at the middle of the medial border. These were the insertions of the humerus. Now we come to the origins. So few muscles also get origin from the humerus. Firstly, we have brachialis, which originates from the anterolateral and anteromedial and anterolateral borders surfaces of the bone, lower halves of anteromedial and anterolateral surfaces of the bones. Then we have brachioradialis, which originates from the upper 2/3 of the lateral supracondyle. Then we have extensor carpi radialis longus, which originates from the lower part of the lateral supracondyle. Then we have pronator teres, which originates from the medial supracondylar ridge. Superficial flexor muscles, which arises from medial epicondyle. Superficial flexors from medial epicondyle, and superficial extensors from lateral epicondyle. Then we have another muscle which is known as anconeus, and it arises from the posterior surface of lateral epicondyle. So this is lateral epicondyle and this is its posterior surface. Anconeus arises from here. Then we have triceps brachii. We have two heads of triceps brachii, lateral head and a medial head. So just behind this deltoid tuberosity, we have a groove. If you can focus this is a groove which is known as radial groove or spiral groove, through which the radial nerve passes. So just above the radial groove and lower down below the radial groove, there is an oblique line or a ridge, and lateral head of triceps brachii originates from the upper part, and medial head originates from the lower part. Now three nerves are directly related to humerus. They are axillary nerve, which passes or runs through this anatomical neck of humerus. Then secondly, we have a radial nerve which passes through this radial groove behind the deltoid tuberosity. This is the radial groove. And ulnar nerve which runs behind the medial epicondyle here. So this is done.